everyone, and welcome to this episode of Writers Infusion. I'm your host, Susan. I am here with our usual critiquers, Dave, Julie. Jen couldn't be here tonight, but she will critique the pages. Ed is off screen doing the scrolling, so we'll see him in a few minutes. We have our special guest critiquer, Jennifer S. Brown, here today. We're really lucky to have her. She was just at the Boston Book Festival. Jennifer wrote Modern Girls, which is a great book. I loved it, and I have my signed copy. So I highly recommend taking a look. So thanks for being here.
I'm excited to do this.
It's really fun.
So we have a Jennifer. Every time we have a Jennifer, our Jen or this
Oh,
Jen.
that's great. There you
There are
go.
lots of us.
And our author today is Lesley Niemy. So she is here from Maine. Yeah. So you made the drive. Yes.
Well, the bus.
The bus. Wow. Thank you. That's great. So we're really happy to have you with us. So we're going to read the page. We'll have you read your pages, and when you're done, we will critique you. And this is so that we go back and forth. So we feel free to ask us any questions as we go along. So that would be great. Okay. So and I'll keep an eye. I'll just we have 30 minutes. So just start. Yes. Thanks.
The title of the summary.
And you'll want to just, I can tell I'm not talking loudly enough, so you want to definitely talk louder than I was.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
My story is My Life Looking Up. This is a story of Hannah Richards. She's in 5th grade. It's the end of the 5th grade field trip to the amusement park. Hannah has been looking forward to this trip forever. She gets to the park and realizes she can't go on any rides because she's too short. She realizes, she knows that she's short, but it's never stopped her from her classroom success and having friends, etc. And she begins to question her reality and her friendships as a young girl. This is the first day of the rest of your life. That's a saying on the poster on my cousin Jill's bedroom wall. She's a sophomore in high school and into yoga, so she knows what it all means. I think people say that when they're about to embark on an adventure of a lifetime, or when they do something they've never done before. Well, that's me, Hannah Richards, soon-to-be graduate of Parkwood School, ready to start the first day of the rest of my life. Right now, I'm lying in bed staring at my alarm clock. It's an old-fashioned clock that my great-grandma Millie had. It's got a regular dial and it winds up, no battery or plug. When Gigi Millie died last year, I asked Dad if I could have it. That made him not so sad. Tick, tick, tick. The sun is streaming through my bedroom window and I'm wide awake, but I refuse to get up before the alarm rings. That's a teenage thing, and I can't wait to be a teenager, so I'm practicing, like my dad says. Tick, tick, tick. Just one more till my alarm goes off at 7. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ring. Yes. I know it's going to ring, but I can't help screaming yes as I jump from under my covers and dance out of my room into the hallway. Surprisingly, I'm not tired at all. This is the day that's going to be the best ever. My gosh, Hannah, shut up. It's too early, mumbles my brother Jack. His eyes are half closed and he drags himself into the bathroom. I cut him off, race in front, and practically slam the door in his face. Hey, no fair, I was here first. Mom, I laugh. Jack may be a head taller than me, but I'm too good at scooting in front and getting what I need without being seen. As I look in the mirror, my mouth foaming with toothpaste, I say to my reflection, the best day of the whole school year. Better than the Friday before a holiday break. Better than having a surprise assembly instead of a social studies test. Better than trading my leaky hummus and Gouda on sun-dried tomato wrap for Allison's homemade meatloaf. Oh, that's so good. We must have been switched at birth. Today is the end of the year field trip. Not just any field trip, like an inside smelling museum or the house built in the 1800s where the people wore old-time clothes and cook over a wood stove. No, not so fun. This is a field trip we've all been waiting for since the start of this 5th grade. This is why I've been on my best behavior at school, did extra help for the teachers, and got tons of good job points. The graduating class, Parkwood School, of which I'm a proud member, is going to the Big Kahuna Amusement Park. The best amusement park ever made, with all kinds of rides, scary rides, fun rides, even rides where you get so dizzy you throw up. YOLO! I raced back to my bedroom, almost knocking over my sisters Haley and Jen on their way to breakfast. They share a room at the end of the hall. Haley's in first grade, and Jen, well, she's really Jennifer, but we all call her Jen, is graduating from preschool next week. They're such a pain. They fight all the time. Mom and Dad think by sticking them together in one room, they'll stop picking at each other and learn to get along. They're such babies. I'm so over their whining. I'll be in middle school next year. We'll have no time to break up their raspberry fights, as Mom calls them. Well, enough about them. I've got to get dressed and be ready for Amanda's mom to pick me up. We have to get to school by 7:30 so the bus can take us to the Big Kahuna Amusement Park. Just saying those words makes me giggle. Take a deep breath. Calm down, Hannah, I tell myself. I try that yoga breathing my cousin Jill showed me. Breathe in your nose, breathe out your mouth with that whistle sound. Slowly, slowly. Hey, it's working. Oh wait, where's my pants? Like, I'm getting frantic. My new pants that Mom was supposed to hem. Oh my gosh, is that them? Great, the tag is still on. They have to be washed before you hem them, Mother, says Hannah. She holds up the pants and the bottoms of the pants legs bunch up to the floor. And they're short. Ugh. Mom, how could you? Hannah hangs her head, shakes it back and forth. You promised. You said you'd hem them so I could wear them on the trip. She looks in the mirror, rolling her eyes. She says, we'll have to talk about this later. You can't be late. Hannah goes through her drawers, throwing clothes on the floor to look for the right pants to wear. Thank you, thank you. Not the best pants, but they're clean. Well, at least you did my wash, Mother. Hannah quickly pulls on her leggings. Breathe, Hannah, breathe. I check myself in my full-length mirror. Outfit, check. No thanks to you, Mom. Hair, check. And I'm ready to be whipped around by the biggest and scariest ride. Check, check, and check. Hannah goes through her small backpack. I carry everything I need for today. I have my hairbrush, lip gloss. Oh my gosh, Mom. Again, Hannah rolls her eyes as she takes out 2 packets of tissues her mother put in the backpack when they went to the mall. I'm not a baby. That's right, Mom. Yeah, I know I've got to have tissues on me no matter what. You never know when you're going to need to blow your nose or end up in the bathroom with no toilet paper, Hannah says with a sigh. Is that all she thinks about? Yes, she says to her reflection in the full-length mirror. Deep breath. I've got my cell phone and camera, all charged up. I know my phone has an awesome camera, but my Christmas camera is the best, and I love pretending I'm a famous photographer. Totes! Hannah looks in the mirror again and shakes her head. Now I'm just babbling. Hannah checks the time on her alarm clock. Gotta go, and she runs down the stairs, jumping the last 3. I'm getting older. I used to only jump the last 2, she says as she sticks the landing. This is chapter 2. Hey, says Mom. Where are you off to so early? Dad is reading the paper at the table, and I can hear him moaning about his baseball team. You're so right, she says as she turns her head back to the kitchen. We both smile and roll our eyes. Hannah told me Mom told me she could care less about baseball stuff when we had one of those mother-daughter times she likes to have. She loves Dad, blah, blah, blah. Really, during those talks, she says, picking my brain for info about my friends. Amanda's mom is picking me up early so we can get to school on time because today is the 5th grade field trip to the Big Kahuna Amusement Park and I can't be late. I blurt out in one breath. Oh, you mean it's today? Already? Okay, I'll get your lunch from the fridge, her voice trails off as she heads back to the kitchen. I follow her into the kitchen and see Dad and Jack engrossed in yesterday's box scores. Haley and Jen are eating breakfast and fighting over the cereal box, as usual. Let me see it. Let go. Mom, she won't let it go. I just shake my head. They poke at each other. I am so done with this. No, Mom, I don't need lunch. The school gives us a lunch ticket so we can eat at the park. It was on the paper they gave us. I put it on the fridge. You're not going to eat that greasy excuse for nourishment, Hannah lectures Mom. I already made your lunch. Take it. It's your favorite wrap. Sprouts and tofu. Mom, not today. I mouth the words. What was that, hon? Said Mom in a calmer voice. She hands me a bag, and I put a few napkins in there, just in case. Just in case what? My friends see my lunch and puke too? I never know what she means by that, just in case. Mom keeps smiling at me, and it's making me feel like I should say something. Is there a booger hanging out my nose? Just then, I hear the beep beep. Saved by the car horn. See ya! I call back as I run down the front stairs. Hannah, sweetie, what time will you be back? Calls Mom, still smiling at me. I got a school notice on the fridge. I yell as I race down the front steps. Thank you.
So I thought, I started off by saying I thought you did oh, first of all, I like your title. I didn't know your title, I like looking up.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought that was cool. I thought you did a good job with voice, so I got a good feel for what she was like and how she thought. And I think that's good, because that can be tough to nail that down. So that's what I thought. And there's a lot of back and forth with her family so that we can see what her relationship is like at home. When I read the summary, and there are different comments I'd like to make about the story itself. When I read the summary and what's going to happen, I think it's a really cool setup, especially since, not that you could tell or anything, but I'm not on the taller side. So I think I'm really interested in what the premise is about. But I'm wondering where it really starts, where the story really starts. And I'm not so sure it starts in the house. I'm thinking, I don't know if it starts at the amusement park, maybe it can start in the bus.
So you may need to have it in the house.
Well, I was thinking it could be in the house maybe because she's making a lot of comments about being sick of her family, and maybe something's going to happen where we needed to know that. So, I don't know.
That's the kind of information I feel that can come out later, right?
That's
For
what I would
instance, her mother is a health nut, like that's clear. But all it takes is a scene on the bus with Amanda where it was like, oh good, you got that sun-dried tomato sandwich again, and Hannah's like, ugh, every day, it's so gross. You know, you can use it in other ways throughout and get right into the action.
I did that too. I said that about the bus. And that maybe with what she's wearing, she gets on the bus and looks around and thinks, I could be wearing that new pair of pants all the popular girls have, but of course I couldn't because my mom didn't know. So she could be thinking about it instead of it being a whole big thing in her house.
Okay.
Yeah, I also was wondering how much of this part is relevant to the rest of the story. If it comes up again, or I mean, if the rest of the story is at the amusement park, maybe not.
Right. The majority of the story is they get to school and it's the interaction of the kids at school, and then they get on the bus and it's the interaction of the kids on the bus. And then it's at the park, and that's when it hits her, and it's very public. And I will say this is based on a true story, so I just expanded it, but this is based on a true story, so.
I'm vertically challenged. I totally feel for this girl. I do.
So one thing, I mean, I have a zillion suggestions as to like punctuation and stuff like that, but what I want to say is don't make any mechanical or grammar changes until you write the whole thing out. Is it all written?
It's all written, yes.
Because I love the energy of it.
Yes.
You know, it's so energetic. I mean, her voice is so great. She's so up. She's so enthusiastic
Right, well,
and
this is
interested.
the culmination of the whole
that.
year of being good and getting those tickets.
I love that part,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't want, you know, if it wasn't finished, I wouldn't want you to go, you know, to get bogged down exactly in grammatical stuff and so forth. I mean, you know, I think you can take care of
Well, I will
that.
say one thing, you switched from
Yes.
first person to third person.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
you can
yeah.
fix.
And that's a speed.
That's, yeah.
That's what I wasn't sure, between narration and dialogue,
Got a lot.
there's a lot of dialogue because she has 3 friends, and then there's the nerdy boy who she's friends with that nobody, and she's challenged in that she wants to be friends, but yet she wants to be with her friends. So there's all
That's
that,
fine, but
you know.
it should be from her point of view.
Yeah.
Because she, you know, when you switch.
There's more dialogue with
Yeah,
it.
when you pick, on page 3, all of a sudden it's, you know,
bottom
it says
3.
Hannah, and it's like, whoa, wait a second.
Yeah, she's asking about her pants.
You've gotten out of her head and you're watching her, and it's not as interesting. It's much better writing around in her head.
Especially, I've noticed that too with middle grade and with young adult, a lot of it is it's first person.
Yeah,
But you can do third person if you like, it's not a hard fast rule.
right.
I do, if I could be a little bit contrarian, one of the things that I felt was that based on this summary, and the summaries are so hard. I actually didn't feel there was enough of a story there. Like, there doesn't feel like there's a realizing you're short. I mean, obviously there's going to be something going on, and I sort of wanted you to think about like what is exactly at stake, and then use that to sort of structure it and figure out where the story starts. You know, I have a middle grade reader. I've read a lot of middle grade, and it tends to be fairly sophisticated these days. So I just wanted to make sure that you really have the catalyst down. You know what I mean? That there's really something at stake that makes this day of her short life different from other days. And it's probably in there, but the summary doesn't let me know that. So I just want you to think about that.
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah, I agree with everyone else here. I have very little to complain about the writing itself. It's the plot that's the problem. It hasn't started. And every agent I've ever heard says, begin the story after the conflict has already begun. Have this, be in second or third gear before the story starts. This is all clearing your throat, revving your engine, doing all those preparatory things that are irrelevant. I made a list of them. The clock is not important to the story. It's cutesy, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not a part of the story. The brother seemingly is irrelevant. On one, you have a couple of paragraphs of you're simply announcing what the story is about. Don't tell us what the story is about. Tell us the story. All right, just you got the sisters in there. You got to repeat. You got pants in there. The camera. There are so many irrelevant things that you've spent a lot of time on, and again, I can't complain about any of it. It's well written, but it's irrelevant. Start probably as they're filing out of their classroom into the bus, and the chaos. You know the chaos that goes on there. That's where you're going to get a reader's interest, because it's not her herself. It's the buzz in the classroom that's going to get, everybody's going to get excited about it, and I would too.
And that's when you'll find out about it, what's going on. Okay, and even have it unfold, they'll figure it out just in the conversation where they're going. Okay, I can say I'm so excited for this, that, you know, we've been waiting for this all year.
We've been good all year.
Right.
And the buzz of conversation, dialogue really runs a story. That's where the honesty comes. And if you get that buzz of conversation amongst adolescents, it's explosive if you can capture it. Good luck trying to capture it. It's like a nuclear bomb. But if you can capture that kind of buzzing excitement, and I don't know anybody who wouldn't read on.
At the beginning of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, Alice is looking at her sister. She's at her sister's lap, peering into a book, and she asks, where are all the pictures and conversations? What is the purpose of a book without pictures and conversations? I love that. I always tell my seventh graders about that. You have dialogue. I didn't see dialogue here. I desperately need that. And if you want to leave the family, and you may leave the family, you can disregard what we're saying. I would have her engage with Jeff, not just jumping the gun into the bathroom, but have her engage with the sisters or interaction with their parents for sure. I thought the most real part of it was her loving her friend's sandwich, and her mother being the health nut of her not appreciating her mother's food, not appreciating her mom really for anything, for not washing the pants and not doing the hemming, whatever.
But again, that can all come up during a conversation.
Absolutely. Oh, it doesn't have to be here. I'm just saying you have dialogue. We didn't see it. That's why we're mentioning it. But I did notice, and you realize this as you go through, too many mentions of Big Kahuna, too many mentions of the best day of my life. It's great to emphasize, but I don't think you want so much repetition.
Right.
And I was this kid, I was this too short kid. I get it, I feel for her. I want to be more engaged.
Yeah, the story's about embarrassment. And
She was humiliated.
Yes.
And that's really where you want to hit. This, again, superficial stuff is, it's like decoration as opposed to the furniture. You give us that, and you may want to start after she's been rejected, after the first ride, and then do a little background dump. But start the story where the story starts, which is really her embarrassment, because after that, And as you mentioned, and I'm hoping it comes true, because that would be a fascinating story. She questions her reality and friendships and so on. That's the amazing part of the story. And-
Does she question reality? I put a
Well-
question mark there.
Well, what I was trying to mean is that, obviously she knows she's short, but she's extremely bright, and she's very good in math like her dad, and she just excels at school, and
She's always believed
She's
she
on the
knew
hard
anything,
work.
right?
right, she has friends.
And no
She
one,
expected
And
this to be a
one
wonderful
friend,
time.
you know, yeah, she has friends, so she's never really been like smacked in the face.
so no
And-
limitations before now.
Right, yeah, I
Life
mean,
realities.
other than she can't reach the cabinet or she can't this, but she's
you
been
wouldn't notice
accepted by, it's a small group of people and that's all she really needs.
And
she's
that's a terrific
she's been
story.
accepted by her family.
That's the story.
Because they're all short too.
Then keep her family in. Well, then
No,
mention
so-
that.
Yeah.
You know, I think that we also sort of need some context, like how short is she?
Yes.
Right? Like you're saying she's short, but
In the story, at the amusement park,
There's a measure.
there's a
marker.
measure with the dancing elephant in the tutu, and she's gotta meet that, and she doesn't,
It's
and,
like 4'7" or something. isn't it?
And is there a
Yeah.
plan B? Is there an activity for her to do at the amusement park when she's stuck with a teacher? You don't have to answer, I just need to know eventually.
um,
And does a
she
friend
just-
hang back?
that's,
Inquiring minds want to know.
well, yes and no.
The thing is with a story like this, that you can experiment. I mean, like they're suggesting starting it in different places. You can try that out. I mean, you can go to a part of the story and say, hey, what if the story started here? Okay? Here's where it is. How far do you go before you get to something where the reader would be lost? Okay? And then you can start weaving in other material. But, you can experiment, with trying that out.
what if you put on like a little foreshadowing or something too, if you kept these in? For instance, you have her in the bathroom, or what if she had to pull out a step stool to reach something, or climb up on a counter? or
Yes,
something
step stool,
to
that was, yes,
emphasize.
that's actually, yes.
Just like you can put little things just in her normal morning, like if she sort of scrambles up, like I have a shorter son and he sort of hops on the inside a cabinet to reach up high
Yes.
on the
I still
counter.
do that.
Yeah, so but
Pull out the bottom
you give
drawer,
us-
step on
you
it,
give us
yeah.
clues that if you're using these scenes to make them purposeful.
Right.
Well, you know what, I love that idea, and you still wouldn't even have to start here, it could be just getting on the bus.
Anything,
Getting on the bus could be tough, right?
just a big step up.
Might have to reach
Yeah,
up and
Grab
pull
some,
herself
right.
up, like,
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
like scaling a mountain.
Yeah.
A running start.
Yeah.
May I ask why a novella, not a novel?
Because it'll never be as thick as what.
Oh, we never say
Middle
never.
grade. Middle grade is
No, it should be shorter.
much shorter.
Yeah.
Age
I
counts.
just thought that, I wanted to write it succinctly, I wanted to write it getting everything in there, and I don't think I'm going to have
How many words?
Self-doubt will
For-
kill
yeah,
for
creativity.
anything.
What now,
longer.
how many words do you have right now, do you know?
It was 8,800 words,
Oh, 80.
Complete?
yeah,
Okay.
complete. And I just didn't,
Oh, that's hard to imagine. You can get, there's a
This
lot
is
of
a
good
big story.
material. This is a big story.
I know, I
Is it-
thought so.
Really
too.
is,
Yeah.
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 And not if I cut out the first.
Well,
You build up other
but-
things. you
Yeah,
put
yeah.
things back
And very
in.
universal, really
Yeah,
universal.
that
There
could be
is a
expanded.
kid, there are many kids in every grade in elementary school and in middle school who feel this way and need to see themselves in characters.
Just think about how long it'll take for you to develop the idea of the realities in her life and how they're going, what they were, and what they're going to be after she runs into this. That's huge. I don't want to sound
No
like a
pun
politician. Okay, friendships. Again, entire novels are made up of describing and developing and identifying and researching friendships. I don't see, why are you doubting that this is a big story? Really, really. Self-doubt will kill creativity, it really will.
You really can't. There's a lot of material here.
I think
Oh,
so,
good.
too.
I think if you just
And it's a great
Oh, no, go
setup.
ahead.
Oh.
It just launches off.
Yeah, it'll come to life. It'll, you'll lose control of it. Usually that's what happens when you start to write something you're really into. You'll lose control of it, and you'll have to rein back, and then
Volume 1.
then you start cutting, as opposed to hoping it'll be long enough. Whoa, that's,
Doesn't sound like Lesley's in that though, she's the opposite, she's gonna add in.
she will. She
Yes,
will.
you'll feel
Once the
like, oh,
story
I need a
explodes.
scene about thus and
Yeah.
such, or, oh my, this conversation should be longer. And it would be great if you worked in the big kahuna with her being big or large in some way, in her intellect, in her heart. She may have a huge heart for what she's doing with this
That's-
male friend.
yeah,
And that's all you need.
The
That's
nerdy
the
boy
richness, that's
who's
the
been
love.
rejected, and yet there's a relationship, there's a neighbor, and she accepts him, and he's her friend, but
It's a good
not
message.
not
but
everybody
they're-
else, they can't be bothered.
Well,
So that's an element that we sort of didn't, get from the summary, but I think if you figure out what that structure is and sort of lay it out, right? And then take the scenes you have and sort of place them around, you will probably find gaps if you really want to keep it in tight structure. And this is, a 5th grade character is sort of younger middle grade, which is not quite as long. So I think that you might be surprised.
I was trying to use the transition of the big event at the end of the last grade of elementary school, and it used to be 6th, but now it's 5th.
Right.
So I made the character a little younger than I had wanted to, but I think it's still, I'm trying to make it age appropriate.
No, it is,
Absolutely.
middle grade can have a range, and there
As
is sort of a
kids get
younger
more
middle grade.
mature at a younger age.
Yeah.
Get rid of the expletives on page 4.
I had a couple of comments too, just about this piece, even if we're saying maybe this is down here, which is really hard sometimes to hear. I'm so sorry. One thing with the voice, you had on the first page, that's a teenage thing, and I can't wait to be a teenager, so I'm practicing. I like that. So I'm just trying to point out something that to me shows good voice. Something I would, on page 4, when she's going through her backpack, I'm carrying everything I need today. I have my hairbrush, lip gloss. I would just, and then this whole thing, that's right, Mom, yeah, I know I've got to have tissues. I would just be careful with how long you go on in a sentence like that, in a section like that, because
I cut the second half
we,
of that.
I did too. So we get the point after she says a few words, and then you want to move on. And it doesn't necessarily happen here, but if there's too much of that going on, then I'm going to forget where I'm at in the story. Or when she's standing in front of the mirror, it was a little confusing to me because it was just, she's talking to herself, and when is the mother saying something, and when is she saying to pretending to
I
be
found that
right? It
confusing.
was confusing.
I
Don't
kind
you
of
hear
had a
him
hard
over your ear though, always on your shoulder?
Yeah.
Take those tissues, you never know. I had a hard time determining what was her just like talking to herself and just, when you're in your room, you're just blabbering away and talking, and then what was dialogue.
Well,
That's
all
what
of this is from her
A
point
lot
of
of it's
view.
internal dialogue.
Right,
Okay.
internal dialogue that I'm putting on the page, exactly.
All of this is from her point of view. So unless she is actually physically speaking with another person, or somebody else is speaking with her, no quotes.
Right, I mentioned you
Oh,
have double
okay.
quotes when
Was
you
it-
didn't need any
Yeah,
quotes.
oh, okay,
It's
Back-to-back
all her
quotes.
narrating.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think you speak to yourself in that way. It's like,
Okay.
oh, you hold up the jeans, you think they're not hemmed, right? You can sort of, you think those things. And I think that for some of the things you could show, for instance, what if she like grabbed her camera and pretended to be taking pictures as opposed to being told, I love my camera and, being a photographer. Like, so if we could actually see it. And that would really get her character, and it would be a little more natural, I think.
Okay. Okay.
We have about 1 more minute. So does anyone have anything that they want to, I know, just like the TikTok in here, right? Does anyone have anything else they want to bring up?
Don't let it ride, just loosen the reins.
Yeah.
Have fun with the story, because
Yeah.
once you're there with the kids, you're there with the kids when you're writing. And you're watching it, you're looking around, you're hearing them, just capture that. Because, again,
Yeah.
there's nothing more fun than following kids around. They're happy and they're sad and they're everything all in the middle, and I guess that's it.
That's my agent.
Yeah, you have a wonderful start here. Very interesting character.
Remember
and-
that, take that away from this.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you much.
spunky character.
Oh, good, that's what I was hoping.
It was written about our daughter. Our firstborn is 4'5", and with other problems too. She has what's Turner syndrome, and we lived through all of this. And my wife just does a magnificent job. Well, to me, I'm a little biased.
There better be a nice dedication page for your daughter and your husband.
Oh, yeah.
That's,
We saw what
that's
she
husband
went
off
through.
camera. Yes.
Yeah.
Still goes through.
Yeah.
Well, my mom had a party when I turned 15 because I was finally 5 feet. She invited some friends over for pizza, and it was like, woohoo! So I get it. You dealt with more. I'm 5'3½". I'm huge.
Okay, I'm not even 5'1".
And I married a tall guy, and it's all went out the window, you know.
Well, thanks for coming
Thank
down.
you.
Thank
you.
It was
Thank
wonderful.
Thank you
Really
very
good.
much.
We've also all marked up the pages.
Yes, please.
I'll
Oh,
scan them,
great.
so even though it'll be a bit before we post, I'll scan them within the next few days and get everything over to you. So you'll have it.
Wonderful. Oh,
And then
this
you
is
can let me know if
fabulous.
you have any
Thank you
questions.
so much. I
Thank you
so
so much.
appreciate
It's
it.
been fun to do this.
Thanks, it was,
Thank you
thanks.
very much.
Thanks everyone else for joining us for this episode of Writers Infusion. We will see you next time. Keep writing.